You're watching Throttle House. I'm Thomas.
And I'm James.
And we get asked all the time in DMs on Instagram or in email, what's the best sports car I can buy for 50K or 30K or 15K? And the truth is, this is all of those, if you take time out of the equation. Or is it?
The new Z. It's finally here. It's all new. Sort of. Mostly. Okay, it might be largely the same chassis, but hey, Nissan, we appreciate the effort. Either way, Z is a letter that has inspired generations of car enthusiasts. But for the last several years, if someone said, hey, I bought a 370Z, you would assume that they didn't buy a new one. That would be silly. No, of course, they bought a ratty high-mileage one that's on its third aftermarket exhaust, and they intend to turn it into a drift car.
But you can't do that with this. It's brand new. That would be crazy. So that actually made us realize that you can break down car enthusiasts into 3 distinct groups that all actually want the same car. So let's see what they have to say.
I'm owner 1. I'm a person of means. I can stomach some depreciation. I can afford the 61,000 Canadian dollars it takes to buy this Z performance trim. I want a clean new car, fresh warranty, fresh paint. And for my purposes, the new Nissan Z does a lot of things right. First of all, it has to be livable. The damping, even though it's the sport suspension with the performance, is good. It's supple, it's not punishing at all. I expected it to be harsher than that, so I'm very glad that it's not. Secondly, it rev matches, so even though I've decided to be a car enthusiast and get the manual shifter, I don't have to know how to heel and toe. I haven't got to be a pro on YouTube with a stupid, always perfect haircut to be able to heel and toe. I can just put it in S mode, and I go down to second, and it blips for me. So you feel like a bit of a legend. Yeah, that's quick enough for me. I don't need to be hitting red line all the time. I don't need to feel powerful. I know what it can do. I've seen a YouTube video. And if I want to scare my son, hold on son, hold on. It does a good old twist. I mean, you're talking a 400 horsepower, 3-litre, twin-turboed 6. Okay, people have shown that it's not as fast as my mate Dave's Supra that he just got, but on the road, it really feels very quick to me. And what I like about it is the sure-footedness. If I do want to put my foot down a little bit, even though they told me it's rear-wheel drive, I'm not shimmying everywhere. It doesn't feel dangerous. It's not intimidating. And unlike the Supra, I don't get people saying, ooh, nice BMW. This is a Nissan through and through, because instead of teaming up with BMW, Nissan teamed up with old Nissan to make this. More importantly, I think I'll be able to pick up some unfair ladies in this here little fair lady. That was a good 2-year lease. Still a bit of warranty left. Ready for owner 2. All yours. Thanks, buddy. Not your buddy, guy. I am owner number 2, and I really am owner number 2. I've been owner number 2 many times. I bought a BRZ after someone had it. I bought a TTS after someone had it. I bought an F-Type after someone had it. The second owner sports coupes are my absolute jam, so I've been very excited about trying this.
Owner 2 can't afford it new, and they like a deal. And it's broken in, so they can start to push it from day 1. That, and they might want to keep it for 5, maybe 10 years. So every little thing it does or doesn't do carries a little extra weight.
That first owner was right. This is quick. This is a great power plant. Really, really fun. The sound is not that exciting. It just sounds like a clean V6. The power is there, straight into the boost, flying. The shifter is the same from the 370, but apparently they've improved the synchros between 1 and 2 to make it more direct. But I have experienced, when driving this hard, like you should, I'm getting second gear grind almost every single time. What's that about? I'm also getting second gear grind when I'm downshifting from third to second. So that takes away some of the confidence of the shifter, which otherwise feels excellent. And I love that the shift lights match up with the rev limiter on the gauge. It all joins in this cacophony before I have to switch. Now the steering has moved from a hydraulic rack to an EPS rack, and on center, the turn-in feels better, it's a bit more direct. For everything else, there's MasterCard, because really, the steering is a step backwards. The hydraulic steering in the 370Z is superior. The feel you get from the road, it's a lot more raw. They've clearly gone the GT route here. This is a much more insulated experience. It's faster, and that turbocharged engine is a lovely power plant. And I have to really try hard to unsettle this, because thanks to that limited slip differential, which you only get if you spend the extra 10 grand on the performance pack, it's putting that power down wonderfully. So really, as owner 2, it's quick enough, it's comfortable, the steering's good enough, the engine's great. The only thing I would really change, and I'm a bit averse to changing things on a car because I'd love it to come perfect from factory, but the only thing I'd change is I'd probably find a different exhaust, because even though this does get a bit exciting as you get higher in the revs, I don't know, you could do with a little bit more theatre. Thomas, you're owner 3?
Yeah.
Where's the costume and the...
I am actually, it's just me. I'm owner 3. Yeah. All right, to be fair, I know I did just buy an M2, and I am kind of, I hate to say it, stretching into the realm of owner number 2. Am I growing up? Am I getting old? I don't know. I'm getting weak is what it is. Because I am fundamentally guy 3. I'm the guy that's bought way too many really high mileage, half rusted out crap boxes and turned them into track cars and race cars. So the Z, for me, is only good if at this point in its life, 200,000 kilometers, pretty janky, if it's a fundamentally good car, because I'm only gonna turn a fundamentally good car into a race car or a drift car. So let's see what it's got. In stock form, I got bad news, everybody. This thing is all over the place. I think it's undersprung because I'm bottoming out the suspension everywhere, and the body lean is absurd. It's pogoing on its suspension. It doesn't feel planted. It doesn't feel like it's a crisp sports car. Ugh, that's frustrating. And I keep grinding second. I don't know why. Okay, come on. What you got? I want you to be my future race car. Oh, Jesus. So the steering is really, really numb. Oh, come on. Be better. Good power in a straight line, though. In a second. Turn the corner. Oh, my God. It's all over the place. And right now it feels very, very heavy. Very heavy. Now, this is normally the point in the video where I would start drifting the car. Smoke would be coming out and I could tell you how the car reacts in a slide. But Nissan has said that under no circumstances am I allowed to drift this car. Which is honestly too bad, really. I mean, oh shit. Okay, listen, technically that was a power slide, okay? Got sideways after the apex. By definition, that wasn't a drift. Yeah. It happens sometimes. It's a rear-wheel drive car with a lot of horsepower. It's just... Oh. Yeah, oops. Keeps doing that. Okay. So if I was able to drift it, which I didn't do, but thankfully we did capture that from like 7 angles, so you get to watch it a little bit now. What I would tell you is that the steering communicates nothing when the rear starts to go, unfortunately. And it kind of, it's a bit twitchy. I'd also tell you that there is a little bit of electronic intervention at the exit there, even though the traction control is turned completely off. Okay, listen, I was just really hard on this car because that was an objective track assessment from guy number 3, Thomas, who wants to turn this into a race car. But the thing that remains that's very important that you all need to remember is that I and you will and would modify this car. I would take the suspension off before I even drove it the first time. I would send it right to a shop and have some really good coilovers put in. I would change the tires to something a little bit more consistent. I would adjust the alignment to try and get a little bit more front-end feedback. And the thing is that this is a rear-wheel drive, manual front-engine car with a lot of power and good cooling. We've been banging on it all day, nothing's happened, so that's good. So the bones are here. The bones are here, and I cannot wait to see what the world does modifying these. Because if you could all do it before me so that when I'm guy number 3 in 15 years and I buy this for 10 grand, hopefully it's going to be a pretty good race car. So, is this the best sports car for 50K, 30K, and 15K? Maybe. The problem is that it's not without competition. There's another sports car that is rear-wheel drive, costs within a couple of $100 of this, and has a manual transmission. And it's not the Supra. This is a Camaro SS 1LE. This is a track car. The steering is talking to me, telling me what the front tires are doing, and the rear. The chassis is stiff, but the damping is compliant. This has the Magna-Ride because it's the 1LE, as well as variable locking, limited slip differential. And since it's a Chevy V8, makes one hell of a noise. Now don't think that I'm bringing this out because I'm an American and I like American cars. First of all, I'm a Canadian. I don't care if the car is American or Japanese or German or whatever, for the most part. I'm bringing this out because it is objectively a good car for pretty much the same money. If you want a good chassis to turn into a race car or even a drift car, this is just the one. It's very difficult to get a better driving track car for the money than this. It'll do that stuff too. No problem. So I'm gonna do some lap times in these cars now. And my question is not, is this one gonna be faster? It's by how much?
But let's start with the Z. As usual, I'm only allowed 3 hot laps to set a time, and you're watching the fastest lap of each. So, this was a car that didn't inspire a lot of confidence at the limit. The tires gave up very quickly and the steering really didn't communicate much. However, it is a very well balanced car, and the natural way through a corner is understeer on the way in and then use the throttle to rotate it through. In that sense, it was predictable. But the overly soft suspension made it slosh around too much for me to place it perfectly. Let's watch the rest of the lap. Okay, the Camaro. I've said it before and I'll say it again, this is one of the best sports car chassis on the market. The body is so stiff, so the car reacts very well to tiny input adjustments, but the MagnaRide is a triumph, keeping the tires planted over the bumps and not upsetting the balance of the car. It's definitely a less progressive car when it breaks away than the Z, but so much is communicated to the driver at 10/10ths it doesn't matter, and of course, torque for days coming out of the corner. For such a big car, it feels so light on its feet, and once you get the hang of it, it's really not intimidating to drive fast at all. Let's see what it can do.
Okay.
I'm excited. I've got it up ready already.
Yeah?
Well, I got the rest of the times up because I watched you drive these two, and yeah,
what did you see?
Quite different.
Very different.
This 8 up bumps. This said, "Oh, stop!"
Yeah, so the tires and the brakes.
Screaming. Yeah.
Yeah. No, this is before I give you any times, I just want to say that this is not a track car.
No,
No,
I didn't think it was.
it's not a sports car either. I don't think.
They've chosen to go GT.
Really GT.
Really
yeah.
GT.
Really. Yeah.
Really
Okay,
get off the track.
we'll talk. Get up the track. All right, we'll get to that in a second. But I'm going to give you the time of this. Now, we did a SS1LE before. It was on Cup 2 tires.
Yeah, trick tires back in the day, and it did a 1:11.58.
58. Okay, so keep in mind that was literally 2 years ago, 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah, a while ago.
So like, different days, different conditions. The times should be similar between the car, but like there's variances. Just keep that in mind. That's a reference point. This did on the stock tire, which is the Eagle F1, a 1:11.
Ooh,
62.
wow. Oh, 62.
Yeah. So
So 400ths.
for
So the same time.
Basically the same time, a little bit slower, as it should be. It should be just a little bit slower than the same car on Cup 2s. Because these are still a really good tire.
Monstrous car.
This is an unbelievable car. Also, like, it felt like it could do 10 more laps. It was just getting going.
Whereas,
This
Yeah.
didn't get through 1 lap.
well, I don't expect this to be as quick, but the Supra A91, which is arguably the more, by the specs rival, did 1:12.17.
Down the leaderboard.
Down the
Scroll.
down, we'll go down.
Scroll. Yeah.
RCF Track Edition did 1:13.63.
Go down the leaderboard.
Tesla
a little
Model
more.
3.
Keep going.
All right, I'm guessing 1:14. What we got?
1:16.43.
Get off the track. So without heavy modification, but this tire doesn't match that.
Okay, so this is a Bridgestone Potenza, and like they do make good tires, but this tire on this car with this amount of mass didn't work. I overheated them. We monitored pressures and everything. I overheated them like 3 corners, and then it was flying all over the place. I will say it is very well balanced though. So like as I was flying all over the place, I could control the angle of the car with the throttle very nicely. So like yeah, it's there.
It's there. You know what it is? It's kind of sweeter looking than this. It's kind of, this looks monstrous and scary.
Oh, are we doing silver linings now?
No, we're doing the looks.
Okay.
This is
Okay, I'll put this away.
visually,
Yeah.
like, you know, you're talking about a price range, $60,000,
Yeah.
where you have to love the looks of a car. That's part of it. It has to charm you. And
This does charm me.
oh, it does. Okay.
Yeah, I like it.
Okay.
Do you not like it?
No, I do. I like it a lot. This front, I'm trying to get used to this mouth because it's big and square and
Is it like this?
it's not great. Yeah, yeah. It looks like when you put the thing in the dentist teeth. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the profile is fantastic. And you know what? We mentioned the Supra. That new Supra doesn't look like a graduation from the last Supra. If you put them together, you'd be like, is that a different car?
No, this is very much Z.
It looks like a Z.
Yeah.
Well, they say that it's the essence of Zenus. Sounds a bit like penis.
That sounds a bit like penis.
Yeah, yeah. But, and there's a lot of elements to that. So I looked into the design of this.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, and a lot of it is the golden ratio. So from the profile, the top to the bottom, the
Wait,
rear,
what are
the
you talking
front.
about? Oh, like the golden mean, that like
Yes,
1.618, that
Yeah,
like
the divine proportion or whatever it is.
Right.
Which, to be fair,
This has that?
yeah, but so does Seductive Bill Gates and the perfect gaming posture and Conan O'Brien's hair. So I don't know if it's like means what it used to
You
mean.
probably now know what he's talking about. I don't. So. I'm
But
all
also,
wrong.
on the subject of Zenus, it has the bulge. Oh, sorry, it's known as the Z bulge. Okay. It takes the same approach to the hood as the
It's
original.
not a German bulge. It's
No,
It's
no.
the Z bulge.
But it is a raised bulge with sharp creases that accent the long nose and hint at the power under the hood waiting to be released. Take me for dinner first, Nissan. Please. But yeah, I think this is in the is a coochie yellow.
It's sorry, what?
Is a coochie, no, that's rude. Yellow.
There was a popsicle when I was a kid called It's a Kadoozy. Is that the yellow?
100%, that's what it is. It's inspired by that.
I like it. Listen, the thing is that the original Z, like going way back,
Yeah.
had a bumper bar in front, right?
It
Which
kind of-
split up this bit.
Yeah.
If this had something to get rid of this whole square bit, and I know it needs it for the cooling and all that, then I think this would be a beautiful car.
But exactly, it needs it for the cooling. It's the engineering. It's a bit like Kirby. If you want to swallow your enemies, you need a big mouth. But as we saw today, it didn't quite do that.
Yeah, no, it didn't.
I love the wheels. That apparently these 5-spoke are an homage to the 4-spoke. Explain that.
Sorry, Mike, if that's what they say.
Yeah, we've got the Z on the side here. We have the biggest petrol cap that you can eat dinner off. And obviously the rear lights are
Great.
they're fantastic, and they're an ode to like the ZX and the original stuff. But interestingly, anecdotally, I've been living with this. I went downtown, and this is a samurai sword blade, by the way.
Okay.
Pretty cool. But I've been living with this. I took it downtown Toronto.
Yeah.
I barely got any attention, whereas when I had the Supra, I got followed home. Don't
You did-
recommend
how
it.
did
Please
you
don't do
get
that. It
followed?
was scary.
Please don't follow James. home.
And then I drove it on the highway here this morning.
Yeah.
And no one looked apart from one Mazda CX-5 that has Princess on board on the rear window, pulled over, window down, and gave me a thumbs up.
That's the buyer. That's him.
It's
That's
the
guy number
dreamer.
one.
But it has a giant trunk, which is a bit shallow, and yeah, if it's a real Grand Tourer, it should be nice on the inside, shouldn't it?
All right, let's go look.
All right.
Okay.
I'm just gonna
start
tell-
her up.
You just don't get excited.
Go.
Doesn't
Ooh,
that sounds like a 4-cylinder Corolla.
What's wrong with like a bark? You know what I mean? Like,
That was-
like my M2 when I started, it goes.
Yeah, not exciting that.
No.
Not exciting.
But I will say, massive points because this is very nice. I really like this in here. They did a good job.
There's decisions that they've made that have really, really worked. So along that Grand Tourer theme, it fills up. It doesn't feel like getting out that Camaro.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel.
The Camaro's pretty nice.
Yeah, that's a bad point actually.
Yeah, the Camaro's pretty nice. But this is nicer. Don't get me wrong, it is nicer.
There's some cheap plastics in here. However, the layout of everything, like the Supra has a kind of tacked-on feel with the infotainment. This comes down here to allow room for the Zenus 3-gauge cluster. Zenus.
Yeah.
I keep thinking Zenus Warrior Princess.
Yeah.
And then you've got these air conditioning buttons down here for climate control that are easy to use.
And actual climate knobs, which
And
are
actually,
really nice.
yeah. This infotainment is.
This is all good, honestly. Like, I really like everything about this. Is this okay? You've been using it
So
more than
it's
I
a
have.
bit slow
Yeah.
on this menu, but with Apple CarPlay, it's somehow quick.
Okay.
I can't explain that. So
Okay.
it's fine. I get on with it. And the main buttons are buttons, and they are on the steering wheel as well.
Cluster. It is
Gauge cluster is wonderful.
Great.
And that is superior, I think, to the Supra. And then you can change, you can customize it as well. So you have, first of all, you've got these things over here on the edge, so G-force and
I have my tire pressures up.
and
Yeah.
boost.
Yeah.
But you got boost there, so
Yeah, and also, crucially, there's a turbo speed gauge.
crucial.
Crucial. I was watching it the whole hot lap. I needed to know. But no, it is really neat because you don't ever see these, right? And you can actually see it speed up as you get near the red line because the turbo is tuned to, as you said, run it to the red line, right?
But we've spent the day in sport mode, so you can actually change this. And there's normal.
On the gauge cluster, you mean?
So
right?
it goes into a more
That just changes the gauge cluster.
just the gauge cluster.
Yes, okay.
And that matches the startup sound of just normal and calm.
yeah, exactly.
And then there's enhanced, which kind of splits everything
What does it
to the edges.
Oh, I see. What goes in the middle? I don't know.
I haven't figured that out yet.
Okay.
But we are getting 14 litres per 100 kilometres
with some hot laps.
with some hot laps.
That's pretty good.
Not bad. I
not
bet
bad
that
at
beats
all.
the Camaro.
You know what? This is nice, but I look at it and I think heavy.
You
It
think
has
heavy?
it has that like look of like leather trim, stitching. You know, it's thick.
Well, I
right?
think
and it is heavy. The car is heavy.
but the black everywhere is really boring. And
Yeah, visually.
you can spec this. I don't think you can have it with the yellow, but
nice.
you can spec this with blue. I don't want to say leather because that's too generous. But the stuff that looks like leather goes blue
Yeah.
or red. And in the blue, it's a bit toyish, but I actually really like it.
Really fun.
The shifter is a huge improvement over the last one. It's not amazing.
You mean the shift knob?
The shift knob.
Yeah.
In the previous one, even in the Nismo for 50 grand, it was this kind of like,
Yeah.
it kind of like,
Do you have a word there?
don't have a word.
You don't? Okay.
That's what they and if they had come up with a word, it would have been a better shifter. But we do still have a manual handbrake.
Thank God. That's really rare these days.
Yeah. But some of the packaging issues, as I said, the boot's really shallow.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, well, spare tire. No. Underneath that is
Yeah.
a Bose subwoofer, which would be maybe okay if the sound system was good.
So.
But it's at best okay. And we've lost a lot of trunk space as a result. So that's a
Yeah.
bit of a shame.
So here's what I would do. I like that there's no sunroof. However, I barely fit with a helmet on. I must point that out, right?
But that would add weight.
That would add weight. No, I would not do a sunroof. I'd
Yeah.
lose that. I would lose a lot of the fake leather and all this stuff, right? Kill some carpeting, get rid of the subwoofer. The sound system sucks anyway.
Yeah.
Get rid of the carpeting, strip the car out. Let's lose 400 pounds. Like, that's what I would want. And that's what Guy 3, i.e. me, would immediately do.
But I like the comforts, and I don't.
That's why you're Guy 2.
And one.
And
Yeah, sorry, it was the same guy, even though that was me.
Really?
The first time,
No.
yeah.
That's nuts.
And then the only other complaint, and it's not strong, but the seats are not. The skeleton is rooted from the 370, and it's not.
I've only
massively-
sat in them for a small period of time, and they've been okay for me. But
They're just okay. They're just
yeah.
okay.
Okay.
But we do, as this is the performance, we do have the silver, the aluminium pedals, and I do love the
You
steering.
know how the LFA goes, wow, wow.
You
and
can't
revs?
compare this to an LFA. You can't.
But I'm just saying, if there's a spectrum, it's on over here, and this one is
But I think
it's over here.
from the cockpit, the steering wheel is fantastic.
No, it's beautiful. I think it's
the
cool.
buttons on the steering wheel are easy. The thickness is great. BMW go too thick with the M240 and M2.
Yeah.
It has the gap here. It's got the Z on the thing. The gauge cluster, the tub. The whole thing, as a Z package,
It feels special.
Considering we
It does.
really didn't think this car was ever going to come out.
No,
Like to the point where we were openly mocking it. And
Yeah, yeah.
I don't feel bad.
and then it arrived, and we're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
They did it. Congratulations, Nissan. Listen,
Yeah.
there's some tweaking to be done. Maybe there's going to be a Nismo version that will sharpen the thing up, and it will be what I want it to be. But this is a cliche at this point, but I am happy that it exists. Does it currently suck at the limit? Yeah, a whole lot. But I would still take this car 15 years from now, strip it out, put a roll cage in it, and race it. Because it's got the bones, it's got the fundamentals that make a good sports car.
But as it stands for Guy 1 and 2, it's still a thumbs up.
Yeah.
This is that scene in Gladiator. But instead, the video probably ends just here.
Whichever way the thumb falls might be up to the individual person. All we can tell you is that a Supra is quicker and sharper, but quite a bit pricier. A Camaro SS1LE is a better driver's car, but perhaps not as pretty. A Mustang GT sounds better. A GR86 or a Miata are both cheaper and more connected, but much slower. And the M240i is a much more sorted car, but no manual. As far as Z's go, in all aspects of branding and design, the new Z passes the assignment with flying colors. The price isn't outrageous considering its specs, and it is a prettier and quicker evolution of its predecessor. For many, that is enough.
But some, like our owner number 3, will be disappointed that its sports car DNA has been diluted by some Grand Tourer-ness. Sports car thrills alone, the new Z is simply not competitive. That's not to say a few mods wouldn't go a long way, but stock? Well, isn't it just pretty? Thanks for watching.